Fiona from McQueens in London, and today I'll be doing a tutorial with you with our subscription flowers crafted by you. As you can see in front of me, I have the selection of flowers that will be with this week's subscription, and they're based on a colour palette that was inspired by Frida Kahlo. So I've used lots of bold and bright colours. That was something you'd maybe see in a flower crown or a painting that she may have done. I also have a variety of vases and some pots as well, things that you might find in your own home that you could use for your arrangement. If you are using a terracotta pot, I would suggest using something like a jam jar inside, or a not very nice pot that you're happy to disguise. Just as a way to hold the water, because most terracotta pots have drainage holes at the bottom. Now that you have all of your ingredients prepped, you can begin to start making your hand tie. Make sure that you have your string ready and some scissors or secateurs at the end, so that you're not having to reach for things whilst you have your hand tie ready. I'm going to start with spirea. I'd recommend it as a good starting place because it has lots of branches that can go out, which is a good building point for your hand tie. Once you have your chosen spirea piece with its lovely little white flowers, I would suggest starting with using some of your filler flowers just to create a sort of structure around the middle for you to build on with your bigger headed flowers. I'll be using a structure first, with its lovely purple, deep purple flowers, which will offset a lot of the other colours that I'll be adding in later. Next, I'll be using some Clarkia. This stem is quite delicate, so I would recommend following on with a hardier stem, like the rosemary foliage, just as a way to support the stem as you turn it in your hand. As I'm placing all the stems, I'm crossing them slightly to create a nice spiral. I'm holding them quite gently in my hand as well, so as not to crush the stems, also to allow a bit more movement and openness in the arrangement so that each flower has its chance to shine. Following on from these, I'll be using these lovely smelling sweet peas. This is the mango variety, which is really great with the colours. And then I'll be placing in my ranunculus. I really like with these ranunculus that they have the deeper orange tips, which ties in the colour palette really nicely. Once you've started to create a nice grouping of the flowers, you can start adding in more spirea pieces to start building out your structure. Don't worry if in the beginning it looks a little bit funny. You can always add stems in later, and it will start coming together nicely once you've added more stems. As you go along, keep dotting your ingredients into the hand tie, making sure that you sort of play off all the different colours so that they bring each other to life. As I'm going along, I'm slowly rotating so that I can create an even amount of flowers and foliage. So as you're going along, I would recommend sort of looking down at your hand ties just so that you can see where the placement of all your flowers have been going. As you can see, I've got my two ranunculus there. We don't want them to look like ears or eyes peering out from the hand tie, so I would recommend slotting in another one either here or here so that you can start creating sort of triangular points throughout your hand tie. I've kept on some of the buds of some of these ranunculus as well because it creates a nice different texture and also helps fill out your hand tie. When you're placing in your peonies, bear in mind that the peonies are going to open up and fill a lot more space than what they would originally when you put them in the first place. So as you can see, like one here that's opened up wonderfully to show the beautiful bright yellow inside, which works wonderfully with the yellow ranunculus. I'm just over halfway along, and now I need to check where I'm going to put my remaining stems. With the astrantia, I've placed them here and here to sort of create darker areas of my arrangement. So I've added in my last astrantia, and now I'm going to think about where I'm going to place these Clarkias. Bearing in mind that their stems are a bit more delicate, it's great that I have the rosemary remaining so that I can support the stems nicely. I've left some of my sweet peas for the end. Because of the way that the flowers are following down the stem, it's a nice way to add it at the end so that it sort of hides all the green stems behind them. I have my last few stems left now, so I'm just going to look where there are any gaps that I feel like need filling with some of my foliages and my last sweet pea. Using my last few rosemary pieces as a nice way to create a support structure for the stems inside. You can also place your foliage slightly further down, also as a way to create some foliage around the sides. And there we go. Now that I've finished off my hand tie and I'm happy with the placement of all my flowers, I can tie it off. So now I'm going to place my arrangement into my vase. I'm going to measure the stems up against the side of the vase so I can see what height I need to cut my stems down to. Now that I've cut my stems down to size, I can place them into the vase. The benefit with hand tying is that because it's held together by the string, the stems stay in exactly the position you want them to when you place them into the vase. There we go. Thank you for following along on the subscription tutorial of the Crafted by You series. We look forward to seeing all the creations that you guys make on Instagram by tagging McQueensflowers and